Hi, I'm Doug.
And I'm Cathy.
And this
There's
is Maggie Mae.
Mae.
Join us as we follow the moon. Today, we're exploring the northern part of Los Angeles County. There's some great hikes and there's some other great things that you'll enjoy, I'm sure, as much as we enjoy bringing them to you. So come along.
Thanks.
And we're going to start off today with a great hike at the Whitney Canyon Waterfall.
We're back.
Yeah, it's good to be out on the trails again.
It sure is.
This one's a little bit different because you take the exit off of 14 and you make a right off of that exit and you're in a park and ride. But go drive through the park and ride, and the entrance to the park is just beyond that.
It's easy to drive in there and think, oh, there's nothing here.
Yep, I totally thought we were at the wrong place. And about 2/3 of this trail is what they call double wide. It's the extra wide trail. The last 1/3 is just single footpath, and it is a little rocky back there. Not a lot of elevation gain on this, and it is 1.5 miles each way, 3 miles round trip.
This is my exercise program.
I love this tree. This big old
this
tree.
Was so cool.
6 big old limbs going up, and right down there in the middle.
A bird bath.
Yeah. I was thinking of frogs, but yeah,
Oh.
birds would love it. That was one you have to go under, a little bit of a limbo time, but this is one you can go around. We did use the All Trails map to make sure that we were staying on the trail. This trail is not marked.
And it does have some little side paths going off, so you want to make sure you're really sure where it is you're going.
Absolutely.
There are options.
Definitely options. And the views are amazing.
They sure are.
Not even the waterfall at this point, but the views are amazing.
Yeah, getting up to the canyon and looking back, it was pretty cool.
The further back you go, you start to see some signs of water in the creek bed, and I wasn't completely convinced that we were going to see much of anything when we got back there because it didn't seem like a lot of water flow. But the further back you got, the water flow increased. So it kept us encouraged.
You also want to consider what shoes you're going to wear because you will be going through the water or at least walking along the rocks over through the water. And I like to just step in and go on across.
Yep. Now this is the waterfall back here in the back. It is truly a beautiful spot and definitely well worth the hike.
There's also a list of animals that you want to make sure you're watching out for.
That's right. Now we're going to stop at Mission San Fernando. This is one of the largest historic missions I think I've ever been to.
Yeah.
It dates back to 1797. And you'll go in through a gift shop. You come out into the courtyard and into the museum. That lets you see what the size of this complex is. And it's still an active mission. It has a cemetery beside it that is very active. We saw 3 services going on the day we were there. So it's still very, very active.
They do give you a map.
Yes.
Makes it very easy to follow.
It sure does help. Now, Pope John Paul II actually came here to this mission, it's the only one of the original missions that he had personally attended. Gives you a little bit idea what life in the mission was like. And this building was in ruins. It has been faithfully and completely restored. And there's a lot of artifacts of the history of the mission that are on display there.
Just walking in their footsteps is an incredible feeling.
Yeah, absolutely. They still have their wine cellar. And you can go down there. And a lot of these had the bars around it. But we'll show you what it looked like without the bars here.
I think wine tasting was closed for the day.
Yes. That organ sitting back there was actually used in a Bob Hope movie. And Bob Hope is a name you're going to start to hear a lot more frequently here. He was a Southern California, and we got to see a little bit about his life and his home in Palm Springs when we were over there. But this was really a big area for him and his wife. That organ had the sheet music on the music rack for when the swans, or Capistrano, or
The swallows.
the swallows, yes. The library, the old
Oh my
documents.
gosh, they were beautiful.
Yeah. That was the original confessional. This is the entrance to the Madonna room. This was their hospice room. And then this is actually in the Madonna room. And yes, it definitely is stepping back into another era.
Mm-hmm.
When you come out of that area, you're into the courtyard, and here you'll begin to see the original church, the original mission. And here we'll pan towards the rear to give you an idea of the size of this. And towards the front. The altarpiece here is just incredible, the detail. Now, walking alongside of that, this area is a little area where they had some of their shops, and we'll show you more of those. Beautiful fountain out here in the middle. They were just cleaning it while we were there. But their shops, their workshops were in here. This one was all their leather works like saddles. This one was their blacksmith area. And then they have a Bob Hope room. And so at this point, we're getting more and more intrigued with the tie-in with Bob Hope, with this ancient mission.
Yeah.
And you come back here to their gardens, and you'll see the sign back here. It's the Bob Hope Memorial Garden. And it's a beautiful little tranquil garden. Looking out there in the distance, you can look over the lawn of the cemetery. There's a brass bust of him. And this area in the corner is where Bob and his wife were laid to rest. Bob passed at 100 years old, and his wife Dolores was 102. Think of all the good he did for our troops and USO shows and everything in the day. That was actually from Easter Island.
Yeah.
Well, we're back on the trails. This is Placerita Canyon Nature Center. And this is almost a whole nother level. They've got a great interpretive center where you can see the different areas of the park, what their ecosystems are like, and some of the creatures that are in those.
This was one of the best collections of the taxidermied animals. Beautifully done.
And there were some that weren't taxidermied.
That's right.
A couple of the tarantulas. Several snakes. Most of them were rattlers. That was a king snake. The little tortoise really acted like he wanted out of there.
Yeah.
And they had several beautiful owls. And this red-tailed hawk. He was beautiful. He was magnificent, yeah. So they've got a really, really nice facility to kind of get you into the day's experience there. There are many different trails to take.
There were a lot of people down there in the water. It was just so pleasant.
Yep. Really enjoying that stream going through there. The Walker cabin. This is a little cabin where they raised their family of 12 kids.
And it was tiny.
It was very tiny. The Oak of the Golden Dream. You'll even see signs for this out on Highway 14.
Yeah.
And it's a 3/10 of a mile walk. On the way back there, it'll show you some of the oil drilling equipment that was used during the day. And that's a nice little paved trail. Right there's the river everybody was playing in. And this is where it goes under the road, under the highway. And the shape of this tree, yes, you could actually see straight through it. But the history of that oak, gold was found there 6 years before the big strike at Sutter's Mill. So this was really one of the first big gold strikes in California. Now we drove about a mile down the road to the Walker Ranch parking area to take our hike. We went on the waterfall trail here, and the waterfall trail is 3/4 of a mile. You can go from the main area of the park. It's an additional 1.8 miles. So we just drove down there because we'd spent a lot of time looking around at the main part of the park and just wanted to make the trip back to the waterfall. This one has a big downhill area when you leave your car, and then uphill areas the rest of the way. Same thing on your way back. You start in going downhill, but boy, that's a trek going back up to get to the car.
That's a different kind of exercise.
That's right.
Straight walking is one thing. You can go a long ways.
The 3-mile trail we did was less strenuous than the 3/4 mile trail.
But both were worth it.
Yeah, definitely. And it's the time of year where there's not a lot of excess water, but yet the falls were still active. We were concerned they both may have been dried up this time of the year, but they weren't. There you can see it coming down there. And that's a little lizard that was greeting us as we went back to the car.
Yeah, he was almost fuzzy.
Last stop is the Valley Relics Museum. This is down by the Van Nuys Airport, and it's actually in 2 hangar buildings there. And neon signs and relics of Hollywood, Los Angeles.
Television programs and movies. And a lot of it was the more recent.
Yes.
It wasn't the old stuff. It was fun.
It really was. They do have a bunch of arcade machines, and they're all free of charge.
They did charge to come into it, though.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, there is an admission fee. And you name it, there were guitars, there were things from movies. The neons are just incredible in there. And then if you ever saw Fast Times at Ridgemont High, that was the van.
This was a bright, fun place.
It sure was. I love to see the food prices. You know, that had a few years on it. That whole wall was arcade games, and again, they're yours to play free of charge. You'll see some Route 66 things, you'll see LA, you'll see Hollywood, you'll see a little bit of everything in here. There's Mel's Drive-In.
Yep.
We were there on Route 66. And they do rent this place out if you want to have a meeting or a company function, anything like that. You can use the facilities here. But yeah, that place is fun.
Well, Cathy, we've gotten to do a lot of things here, from nature hikes, waterfalls, the historic mission, and now to all of this nostalgia from North Los Angeles County. What did you think about our time here?
This has been pretty great. I've enjoyed all of the entertaining places that we've gone to, and of course nature is always my thing.
Absolutely. Got a little bit of everything.
That's right.
And in Los Angeles, you definitely have a whole lot of everything. We have barely scratched the surface, but we wanted to bring you a few things that we found here that we found interesting.
That's right.
And if you found it interesting, leave us a thumbs up. We appreciate it. And if you haven't already subscribed, watch for the button up here at the end of the video. If you tap that, you can ring the notification bell. You'll know when every one of our videos come out.
And thank you for following us as we follow the moon.